there was more time, so we could get into so many more of these things. But before you leave us, one thing that I would like to hear you touch on is what the president had to say about hate speech. And he talked about plans on to use people's IP addresses to track them down and clamp down on hate speech as is done on social media and so forth. I had a couple of questions coming about that. One person wanted to know, can't we use that same thing to track fraudsters who are doing mobile money fraud?
And it is done. It is done. In fact, one of the things that national security touts a lot when you engage them is that they've been able to bust some of these gangs through such monitoring. So it is something that is there, except that it's not broadcast. It is not. In fact, some of these things don't even want people to know that you have the capability. It's one of the ways that you are able to take them by surprise and bust whatever operations that they are engaged in. But the bit about hate speech, you know that President Mama is an affable, you know him quite well. Very affable, easygoing person, very tolerant. Indeed, sometimes he is even criticized within the NDC for being too tolerant of critics. You know that Manasseh is a fierce critic of his. Indeed, I can disclose to you, Manasseh has actually met President Mama on a number of occasions since he became president. He's hosted him, had discussions with him. So he's not somebody who is averse to criticism or even harsh criticism. Because it is allowed. We are in a democratic space. You are allowed to take on governments. It may be pleasant. In fact, the guarantees to free speech exist because the framers of the Constitution were aware that there were those who will engage in speech that is not pleasant. And those of us in power should not have the ability to go after people because they've said things that we don't like within the confines of the law. But in a situation where somebody says that I'm going to kidnap the president, kill him and behead his wife, clearly that is not free speech. That is a huge threat on the life of an individual. Forget about the fact that he's even president. On an individual, because if somebody threatened you, the person should not get away with it simply because there's free speech. So it is, and there are people who make allegations that border on national security. For instance, they say that this person is brandishing these sophisticated weapons and is going to engage in this sort of crime. Going after such a person to help you establish how he came by that information, exactly what is going to happen, is not in itself wrong. What should not be countenanced is a willful abuse of people's rights, to deny people. For instance, that's why I have been a bit surprised by the ruling of the circuit court judge in the Abronye matter. Abronye is known for his propaganda and all that. I mean, I doubt if there's anybody who takes him seriously in this country. He makes wild claims that are false. I doubt if he will ever host Abronye on this program because you know that he won't give you any value. But by God, even he has to have his rights defended. So I found it quite bizarre, to be honest, when I read that the judge had said, and indeed I had to read it to believe it because I couldn't believe it when it was being said that all men are supposed to be equal before the law, but some are more. I cannot understand that. I cannot understand that. Absolutely,
you
cannot stand.
You also read
that cannot stand.
Since we're on it, you also read the judge say that he's also in a quest for consistency, and that in the previous government he held someone.
But consistent wrong for this cannot be justified.
He held someone.
So everybody, when you beat me, you slap me. So when you beat me, you must slap me. It is not justifiable. I understand the position of the judge. We are all desirous of sanitizing the space, ensuring that people do not abuse the frontiers of free speech to foment trouble. For instance, if you have a whole MP go on radio and declare that accounts should attack FS, that clearly is not acceptable. So you cannot say that in the past somebody was denied bail, so a similar thing should be done to somebody. Everybody, including murderers and armed robbers, through Martin Bebu's interventions at the Supreme Court, it has been declared that everybody deserves bail. So after you hold a person 1 or 2 days and you take him to court, there should be bail. Of course, if the judge had said and left it at that Abronye is a flight risk, because already he is claiming that he wants asylum in some members, so he's a flight risk, that is an acceptable rationale. Even then, it has to be done in a way that does not seek to abuse his right. But to say that he's not equal before the law, no, indeed, everybody is equal, from the president to the cleaner at multimedia. We are all equal before the law. So I think that one is problematic and something needs to be done. I am aware that there are efforts to ensure that is corrected, and that it does not become the basis upon which he sells, despite whatever he says. That
what are these efforts? Is the executive going to intervene?
Oh, of course, the police is the one doing the prosecution, but you do know that the Attorney General also can at any point intervene and take over the prosecution. So I'm aware that the Attorney General is making efforts to ensure that bail is granted to Abronye, despite the undesirable nature of his commentary over the years.
There's so much more we need to talk about.
But I would have loved to go on and on. Unfortunately,
time is not. But